minutes of your life, you will walk away with something. Deal? Yeah. If you don't, you're wasting your own time. So if we're here anyways, we're in the room, let's just show up, because all it takes is one idea, one thing. And what's cool about Scott is he's the real effing deal. He's been doing what he's going to teach you for 5 straight years. He's built his entire career on what he's about to teach you. And he's taught it a lot. So that's what's cool, because some people can do it, but they can't teach it. He can do both. So have a goal, have a mission of getting 1 or 2 ideas, and then take some kind of action today, and it will have the power to improve your business. Are we all aboard? Yeah. Excellent. Go and take a seat. So this is Scott Eames. He just taught me that his name is E-A, right?
Yeah. E-A.
And everyone says Ames. And he says if there's 2 vowels walking together, the first vowel talks. Is that correct?
Does the talking.
Does the talking. So his name is Scott Eames. See, you guys already learned something. Was this worth your time?
Yeah.
You guys, what I love about him is he's a true salesperson. He's an influencer. A true salesperson, though, is somebody that serves. That's what sales is. Sales is not manipulation. Sales is not, hey, I said the right thing. Sales is putting people in a position to make the best decision for them. And that is skill set, that is scripts, that is role play, that is busting your ass every single day and being consistent. And that's what he represents. So he's going to give you some framework on how to knock some doors. He's also going to shift your perspective in just going out and looking for a listing and building your database, but actually some ways that you can build a career and build wealth from door knocking. Also, he's going to show you how to bust through fear. Cool? If you can do some of that today, if Scott can provide that, is this going to be worth your time today?
Yes.
You guys fully engaged, because today matters. Cool?
Sweet.
Give him a hand.
Thank you all for showing up. You've proven to me that you're here because you want to do something different with your careers, and hopefully I can offer a solution. Give you a little bit, I'll start out with a little bit of background on me. He's got a lot of energy. I don't quite have that much energy. So I can if I'm snowboarding, but not teaching is a little different for me. So I spent 20 years in the auto industry, and I hated my life. Go to a car dealership every single day, grind, work 60, 70 hours a week. And a lot of you don't know this, but if you go in and buy a $30,000 car, hey, I sometimes made $100 off of a $30,000 purchase. So I had to get really good at selling cars to sell a lot of cars. Sometimes there's $400 or $500 commissions, but if you sold 20, 25 cars, you can make about 10 grand a month. Okay, so 20, 25 transactions per month, paid about 10 grand a month. Average closing percentage was about 25%. That means I had to talk to 100 people in person to close 20, 25 deals a month. That means to get 100 people in person at the dealership had to do really good advertising, or I had to be really good on the phones and set appointments and get people in, which meant I probably had to talk to another 30, 40 people on the phones. Okay, so every single one of those was a negotiation. And as I went through my car career, 20 years in the car business, and I worked my way up to manager, finance manager, sales manager, team manager, general sales manager, general manager. Over that time, I negotiated over 100,000 transactions. And so I've got a self-prescribed degree in psychology as a result, okay, from dealing with people and just watching mannerisms and learning how people function and talk, and eye movements, body language, mannerisms, everything, right? So, but it's really, really helped me propel into the real estate industry. And so when I got out of the car business, my son, this is the true story. I forced my wife to get a real estate license, okay? Because I'm busting my ass in the car business. I was making about 20 grand a month at the time as a general manager. And we've got a daughter in college at UC Santa Cruz, which comes with a $70,000 tuition because it's out of state. And I was like, man, I'm just grinding. I need somebody to help me offset the bills. So I have my wife get a real estate license. She gets it in December of 15, fast forward to May of 16, and she gets, my niece wants to buy a house in Roy. So my SOI gets her a deal in Roy, $250,000 purchase. Some guy goes through Berkshire Hathaway's website. Anybody with Berkshire Hathaway in here? No, really? Hey, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so there, it's in alphabetical order on their website. Starts at A, goes down to E. She's about 40 people down. Get a phone call on a Saturday morning. Hey, I'd like you to come list my house. No joke. $390,000 house in Bountiful. She's never even sold a house before. He just picked her out. Hey, I got to the E's and just must have said, hey, there's a cute face. Call her up. Okay, $390,000 listing. She goes and puts a sign out front. We don't even have a sign. We've got to go buy a sign. Go and buy a sign, put a sign in the front yard. Okay, sign call. Hey, I'd like to look at this house. Tell them the price, don't qualify. Are you working with another agent? No, great. Sign call, picks up a buyer, sells them a $260,000 house in Bountiful. So in 30 days, she makes 20 grand. I'm like, you didn't even do anything. It's like, oh, maybe I should get my real estate license. And so about that time, my daughter comes home from college for summer break, and she spends, 5 weeks with us, and then she's back to California. And my son comes up to me and he says, like, all of this happens at once, May, June of 2016. And my son comes up to me with tears in his eyes. He's 13 years young. And he says, Dad, can you find a job where you can work from home? I said, you know what, dude? I think I can. So, we're being recorded. I might not want to say this. So my wife and I jump in. This is when we had Pareto. Anybody remember Pareto? This is real estate school? Really? Nobody used Pareto? Yeah, Pareto was awesome because it didn't log you out at 8 hours like Stringham did. So she would take my classes all day long, and I would get home from work, and I would take them till 1 o'clock in the morning. So we knocked out my 125 hours in about 7 days. Right? So, and then I just took all the tests, went past my test, went into my boss as the general manager of Bountiful Mazda at the time. They were going to give me ownership in the dealership and everything. And they'd spent a lot of money on me to go to dealer school. And I said, I'm done. I'm gonna go work from home. The real estate, are you crazy? It's not that easy. I was like, I know, but if I can develop a relationship with my son before he goes off to college, that's a lifetime. And I will go dead broke. I don't care. I'll suffer through poverty, but I will figure out how to make this work, and I will figure out how to make money. I promise you. So fast forward 5 years later, I think I figured something out. But as a result, I'm living in Utah County. I'm from Weber County, born and raised my whole life, dealership life. Transferred me down to Utah County because I was the general sales manager of Ora Mazda, and I built that up into a profit machine. Then they made me the manager of Bountiful Mazda. And so I get out of the car business, go to work for Keller Williams. I call Spring. I knew Spring from even before she was in real estate. And I said, how's Keller Williams? She's like, it's great. You should join. So I joined Keller Williams in Orem, Westville. And so I jump into the real estate business. I don't know anybody in Utah County. Nobody. I don't go to church. I don't go hang out with anybody. My life is the car business 6 days a week. And on Sundays, I'm hanging out with my family. So I know nobody. And so I jump into real estate and think, online leads, that's the way to do this. So I create Facebook funnels. I pay $5,000. I fly to Dallas and I take a course on building Facebook funnels. And I'm pretty sure I was one of the first people to run ads in Utah for housing ads on Facebook. I know that Jimmy and I were the first people to run mortgage ads in Utah, maybe even in the country, on Facebook. Now everybody does it. They told us it wouldn't work. Mortgage ads work better than housing ads. So we run housing ads. It's not working. Leads are junk, garbage info. I was like, I need to make money. My first 6 months from July 31st, 2016 to December 31st, 2016, I made a total off of Facebook ads and generating leads. I made a total of $20,000 in real estate commissions before my splits. So I went from $20,000 a month to $20,000 in 6 months. I got news for you. Your lifestyle does not change. Okay? Because once you've had that lifestyle, you're like, I love this lifestyle. I want to keep this lifestyle. How do I keep this lifestyle? So I keep grinding and grinding. It's like, I got to do something different. I don't know anybody. And I go to Keller Williams family reunion in 2017, February 2017 in Vegas. I meet Dwayne Richens. I don't know if anybody of you know Dwayne Richens, D2D. Okay. I'm telling him I'm running Facebook ads and I'm generating leads and I've had mild success with it. I didn't have any, right? So, and I'm talking to him and he's like, I closed 30 deals last month from door knocking. I was like, what? Seriously? He's like, yeah, I built my team out. He wins rookie of the year. I was like, hey, there's something to this door knocking. I'm a salesperson. I've never door knocked a day in my life. But if he just did 30 deals in a month and he started at the same time I did, I can do deals from door knocking. So Dwayne, I've even called him and told him, I give him a lot of credit for inspiring me to go door knocking. And so what I do, I'm in Saratoga Springs, Utah, and where everybody knows everybody in the neighborhood because they all go to church together. They know who we are because we're the only non-Mormons in the neighborhood. Okay. But my son goes to Scouts, so they all know who we are. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go knock doors in my neighborhood. So I walk out my front door one day, just go start knocking doors. And lo and behold, I run into the Relief Society president. Okay, and the Relief Society president, anybody Relief Society? Okay, you don't need to tell me, I'm just kidding. Okay. Alec is the Relief Society president. So I meet the Relief Society president, knock on our door, super friendly, invites me in, offers me ice cream. Oh, you're living over there in that such and such house. At the time we were renting because we had moved to Utah County, had no idea if the job was going to work out. You're renting the Christensen's house. Yeah, we're renting the Christensen's house. And so she just gets talking to me and I tell her what I do. And she's like, you know what? So-and-so down around the corner, they've had renters in there and I think they're getting ready to sell. So like, do you have the number? And she's like, yeah, gives me the number, call them up, work it out. I'm in the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. They let me list their house. Okay, that was my first deal from door knocking, and it was literally on the 5th door I knocked. Is how I got it. Then she also gave me several other people in the neighborhood that were interested in selling. So I ended up selling in the last year that we were there. So we were there till November of 17, August of 17. So I sold 4 houses in my neighborhood from door knocking. And 3 of them came from her, just by having one conversation with her. And so I share this part of that story with you because I'm going to teach you how to get people just to open up and start having conversation with my word track that I have. And so that's where my career really started. Then we moved back up to Weber County where I'm from. Now I know the streets, I know people. Became a lot easier to go out and knock doors. So 2017 so we move up here in August of 17. I wasn't sure if I was going to be a real estate agent yet or not, so I went and sold luxury jets at Ogden Airport. And that was a lot of fun because flying on private jets is cool. And, but it was a crazy ass lifestyle. Okay, and I was like, hey, if I keep hanging around you guys, I might not stay married for very long because people that have private jets like to party. Okay, I didn't even know that there was you could rent a cabana at Club Wet for $25,000 a day. I had no idea that was possible, but I got to go there. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I can't do this lifestyle. I need to get out of this. I need to focus on real estate. I need to jump in with both feet, burn the boat and take the island. And so it was right around end of 2017. I had about $70,000 in real estate closings in 2 weeks. And everything just hit at once. I was like, what am I doing? Why don't I just do this? And so 2018, I got intentional. And I was like, this is it. There's nothing else. I'm a real estate agent the rest of my life. And I'm proud of it. This is what I do. Go out, start door knocking. And I was like, it's a lot more fun if I have people with me. So I start taking agents out and teaching them how to door knock. And I swear to you, every single time I take an agent out for the first time, and all of you are now going to be like, hey, take me. Because every time I take somebody for the first time, we get a deal. Every single time. It is crazy. Okay? Yeah.
Oh, you on your calendar.
Right? Ask Autumn, it's not very easy.
It's really hard.
It is really hard.
6 months.
And then she stands me up for lunch.
And I'm gonna show up here today and be like, hey, remember me? Hey, got it. Pennsylvania.
So, I take Annette Judd out, and it's like the 19th door we knock on. We run into Eddie Grigo, we knock on the door. This is the first part of the script. Say, hey, I'm Scott Eames. This is Annette Judd. We're local real estate agents. The reason we're knocking on your door today is because we have buyers that want to buy a home in this neighborhood, and there's literally nothing for sale. So we told them we would go out and knock doors and see if we could find something that wasn't on the market yet. Have you considered selling? Okay, that's the first part of the script. And I'm going to give you a piece of paper that's got all that on it. And he looks at us, and he looks at us, and he says, how do you know? How did I know what? That I needed to sell my house. I didn't know. There's out knocking doors. He's like, yeah, come on inside. So 30 minutes later, we leave Eddie's house. We've got a 7.5% listing agreement with a $7.95 transaction fee. Okay, so we sold his house, and now we represent him as a buyer to buy his house. His situation was his wife had died 4 months earlier, and he had lost her income, lost her Social Security benefits, and he couldn't afford the house anymore. You never know what somebody's situation is when you're out doing this. But the reason I stumbled upon this neighborhood, and this is why I've got the MLS pulled up, you're probably wondering, why is that on the screen? The reason I have that pulled up is because I want to show you how I targeted this neighborhood. Okay, when I go door knocking, I don't just go yeah, I'm gonna go start there. Okay, I do a bunch of research first and find a neighborhood, or pockets, as I call them, that haven't had a lot of activity in the neighborhood. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that using MLS data. And I've got also a paper that shows you what the finished result is, because I don't have a printer here. But we'll go through a real live scenario of what I would do to target a neighborhood, and then give you an action plan that you could literally go out today, go knock a neighborhood with an intention and find a deal. And the coolest part is the next level to that is I started out knocking doors for listings, and I was getting 7.5% listings, 7.5%, 8%. And I was like, I'm gonna get a 10.
Is that because you buy and sell with them?
What's that?
How is it? Is it higher because you buy and sell with them?
It's all in the negotiation. I'm worth more. I always sell their house for more. Even this is back in 18. I still, it wasn't as crazy as it is now. Okay, but it was still kind of crazy back then. And I just negotiate a little bit differently. I'm glad you brought that up. What is the number one thing that you're negotiating when you're
Commission.
Okay.
We're like,
Yeah.
go lower, and it's like, no, but how do you tell them?
okay, but what are you negotiating when you're negotiating commission?
Services.
Okay, that, and what number are you negotiating? Correct, percentage.
Their net,
Okay,
what they're gonna walk away with.
that's what you should be negotiating. Okay, but most agents, when they go to a listing appointment, they negotiate percentage. Okay, what is the smallest number that affects your commission the most? The percentage. But if you show them a commission, and in my head I calculate 8%, 8.5%, and I show them commissions, then they're like, well, can we adjust that a little bit? Yeah, I mean, we could probably adjust this $2,500. What did it do to the percentage? Nothing. You negotiate the bigger number, the smaller amount, not the smaller number that affects the bigger amount. Make sense? Oh, we can do that on the board, at the end. So we'll get through this, and we'll do a Q&A session, and at the end we can do a little bit deeper dive into some things. So where was I? By the way, I've got ADHD really bad.
Rotating, how to target.
Oh yeah, okay, targeting neighborhoods. So this neighborhood that we went and targeted, okay, 7-8%, I'm like, I'm gonna get a 10%. And then one day it just clicked to me, I was like, if I can get a 10%, I did the math. It's like, if I can get a 10% listing agreement, and I pay a buyer's agent 2.5, and I keep 7.5 for myself, why don't I just buy the house? If I'm not good at negotiating, why don't I just buy the house? So I targeted a neighborhood in Roy. Anybody know where Roy is? Everybody? Roy West Park. Okay, target this neighborhood. I've got a starting house. Literally the house I started at, I bought by targeting. I ended up buying 2 houses in that neighborhood off knocking 20 doors and listing another one off of 20 doors. That's how I got into flipping. was I bought that house, and this is a funny story. Brett Nesbitt was with me. Anybody know Brett?
He was my instructor.
Brett's awesome. I love Brett. We knock on the door. The guy says, I knock hard too. I don't ring doorbells. I knock doors. I knock hard. The guy opens up the door. He's standing there dripping wet with a towel on. And his toenails are painted turquoise.
Nice.
So he got nicknamed Turquoise Toes. Okay. And Brett's CRM actually sent him a letter to, because he couldn't remember his name, to Turquoise Toes. Okay. We had a good laugh about it. But Joel, he was retiring out of the Air Force and he wanted to move back to Michigan. So it was just perfect timing. Knocked on his door. His situation was he wanted to sell, didn't want to buy, wanted to move back to Michigan. I was happy to sell it to me, do a lease back with me for a couple of months until I could get everything arranged. And this house was disgusting. 2 German Shepherds lived in this house, and I think Joel just slept there. So there was a solid yellow line about this high throughout the entire house. Yeah. So anyway, knock on that door. He wants to sell. I end up buying that house. That's how I got into the flipping game. And this was after having multiple, a lot of success on listings. And then it transitioned into flipping houses. So now when I go and knock on doors, I go knock on doors to try to buy houses. I'll list them second, but I'm going to buy them first. So anyway, so let's jump into this and how I targeted that neighborhood, how I target neighborhoods, to go after potential buys or potential listings. So everybody recognizes the screen, right? Do you? Jason? Kind of. So Jason's a flipper, right? Got the whole crew here. Love it. So this is the MLS. This is where we find active listings. And so what I will do is I will pull up like an area of where I want to go. So where's everybody from? Just holler out a few of them.
No.
Layton, Salt Lake, Syracuse.
Arlington.
Layton.
Okay, who has an inventory problem in their area right now? Okay, everybody? Okay, so let's,
Can you blow that up just a little bit more for us blind people?
I like dim the lights a little bit.
Or something.
We're
I
gonna
don't
see.
know if I can.
If you go Control Plus, it'll blow it up a little bit.
Oh,
Perfect.
there you go.
Okay, I'm not super tech savvy, but I can do that. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to establish active, under contract, sold, but really I'll start with just sold properties. And we view the map, click on view map, and then we're just gonna scroll down in. So let's just take what's the hottest price point right now? Probably what, $350, anything over under 400, right? Where's our pain point? 300. So I'm just going to select this neighborhood in Layton right here. Okay, you can do this anywhere. Okay, that's in the past year. How many houses have sold in that little square in Layton in 1 year? That's crazy. Okay, but what I see, for example, I see this area right here where that 453 is, right here. What don't you see there? Houses being sold. What about right there? What about right there? Those are pockets.
So is it where they're sold most? Is that where you go?
You want a hot area, okay, in a good price point, okay? And the reason for that is a neighborhood like this, originally, and you'll see as we go just a little bit deeper dive into this, a neighborhood like this, 5 years ago, the price point in this neighborhood was probably high 100s, low 200s. 10 years ago, it was low 100s. Okay, when people were buying in the low 100s in that neighborhood, they were just getting started out as families. Okay, if the subdivision was built in the 70s, it's 2020 right now, or the 80s, okay, early 90s, you probably have a neighborhood that is, as one guy put it when I was knocking on his door, I didn't make this up, he did. He's like, yeah, we call this neighborhood the nearly dead or the newlywed neighborhood. Okay, so there's a lot of old timers live there forever, but you know, they're transitioning, but you've got newlyweds moving in, but you also, you have that middle group of people that bought in this neighborhood 10, 15 years ago that are ready to upgrade. Okay, or you've got the empty nesters now that have been there for 25 years that would like to maybe buy something up in the mountains. Or you've got the elderly couple that needs to go to a retirement home. I've got one on the East Bench I'm working right now. Beautiful property, 3,500 square feet on half an acre with a mother-in-law cabin behind it. And they're in a retirement home in North Ogden just because they can't keep up with the property anymore. And that came from knocking 20 doors that day. And so I'm still working on that deal. Hopefully I can put that deal together. Now I'll sell it to Jason to flip it.
Do you bring cards and like something of value? Because I know a lot of times they're saying you should bring that, and you just not. Yeah.
So I'll show you what I take with me. Cards, very rarely do I carry them because what do they do with cards? They take your card, throw them away. So instead of a card, if they ask me, you got a card, I'll ask them for their phone number. Say, hey, what's your phone number? I'll just send you a quick text. So you got my info in your phone. Now I've got their phone number too. Okay, I'll send you my digital card. Okay, I'm a tree hugger. I mean, I'm not really, but they're on the doorstep.
So you don't take business cards if you will not?
No. Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah, I have my phone. So I send them a digital business card. Okay, so we're just gonna zoom in. I mean, any one of these areas is good. So we start diving in right here. This is around a park. So if anybody's taking notes, I mean, this would be a great area to go door knock. Okay, so we start diving in a little bit further. Look at all these cul-de-sacs. It's got a park. So that means there's a lot of houses right here. Look at all those houses right there. But I think I'm actually going to pop back out just one because I zoomed in. There we go. Okay, so that is your 1 year sold history. Yeah. That's your 1 year sold history in that neighborhood in Layton, and that's just part of it. When you look at, you scroll up here, look at all these other properties that haven't sold. This is, you go door knock this for days, and there are multiple deals in this neighborhood just by looking at this right here. So this is what they've sold for the past year. I start clicking on some of these, like, okay, there's a tri-level for 420, 2,000 square foot tri-level for 420. 2,200 square foot tri-level for 385, so that probably sold last year. Corner lot tri-level to 362, 2,100 feet, so that probably sold last year, right? But look up here, we've got a 574. That's a little bit bigger, 2,600 square feet. 435, so now I'm starting to get bearings on the neighborhood. So this whole neighborhood is basically tri-levels. Okay. And so if we want to know more, we just click on this, 330, because that seems really low. Sure enough, closed on August 7th of 2020. So this house even has appreciated $100,000 since last year. Okay. So here's where it starts getting really cool. So I'm just going to leave this right here. This is my new section on my map. I'm going to hit hide map, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to change it from 2020. I'm going to go back to a 2018. Whoops, not 2028. 2018, and then I'm going to put 07, 15, 2020 in here. Okay, so I just eliminated last year's. Okay, but I want to go back to my map view map, more than 300. So what I need to do now is polygon this area, because I want to focus on this area, right? And I need to cancel that one because it gave me too many, okay? So there is, now I'm up to like a 4-year history. So that is 2018 to 2020, or a 3-year history. So now you can start to see some of the prices, 298, 340, 304, 287, 265, same houses. That was 1,200 square feet, 287, tri-level. Okay, so now I'm going to do that one more time. And I'm going to go back to, I'll go back as far as 10 years in a neighborhood, but we're just going to go back to 2015 right now. Anybody remember how many? There's 58 sold in that one, right? So 37 from 2015 to 2018. All right, now look at these price points. 218. Okay, they've got $200,000 in equity in that house in 6 years. 200 grand. 250. That was a Rambler. 275. So this one, if you remember right, this house next door to that one sold for 565. 275. 300K. Okay, so what I will do with this is I will now take this and I'll take a snippet. Everybody know what a snipping tool is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll snip it and then I'll print that out. And then I'll go back and I'll do the same thing for my other, okay, for my other date range, and then I'll do the same thing for my current date range. And as a result, what I get, these lines are kind of, I think springs are better. So I'm gonna pass out springs that she made me copies for. So if you look over this, now this will make a lot more sense. I'm gonna pass, let's see. Yeah, if you can help me, because there's two.
There's 2 pages?
Yeah, there's 2 pages for each one.
Do you have a script so you can start talking about?
That's with it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Okay, any questions on how to do this with the MLS? Is it super easy? Okay, super easy.
Wait, you didn't put anything like you only changed the dates.
Only change the dates.
Not like the dates back.
All I want to know is what's sold. The only other thing I'll do with the current.
Because these have changed so fast, right, would you want to do it, like, for example, a year ago?
So I do 1 year.
3 months ago.
Yeah, do you have your sheet yet? So I do, like I said, I'll go back as far as 10 years. It just depends on the neighborhood. And so, you know, for example, with this sheet, I did current. So current, and then I did 2016 to 2020 and 2014 to 2016. In this particular example you have in front of you. Okay, and then I highlight which ones are which. I print out 3 sheets and then I combine them to 1 sheet. Okay, so now I've got, in the example you have, I've got a 7-year history on this neighborhood. So now when I go knock this neighborhood, am I going to come across as the expert in the neighborhood? Can I answer questions intelligently about what the market is doing and what it has done?
Yeah.
Okay, and also keeping that in mind, as you go through, you can see the different styles of houses because you have a map. You have a map to a neighborhood to go knock. And so as you have your map, you're walking by, you're like, oh, that one sold for, you know, that one sold for 195,000, somewhere between 2014 and 2016. You can get crazy, you can put more colors on there. I try to just have 3 colors just so I don't get lost in the rainbow. So now that you're looking at this, you can see this is a neighborhood in Kaysville. So I start with the old ones, the map is 2016 to 2020 because I have the most on it, and then 2014 to 2016 is highlighted in blue. And just so everybody can see what we're looking at home. I don't know if that's, can you tell, is that too close? A little closer.
There you go.
Can they see the bottom? So this is what your final map looks like after you print out 3 of them, and then you just get a highlighter and you highlight the houses, and I write numbers on there so I know what they sold for. And so you can see from 170,000 in this neighborhood, 157,000 in this neighborhood, up to 536,000 in this neighborhood in a 7-year period. And you can also see how many didn't sell. So now when you knock on the door and somebody wants to know, they've heard the real estate market is hot. Okay, they've heard the real estate market is hot. Now you can have an intelligent conversation with somebody and you can be the expert And I'll even show them this, like, this is what's crazy about what's happened in this neighborhood in the last 7 years. And if I have this and I'm showing somebody this, do I look like I've done my research?
Mhm.
Do I look like I know what I'm talking about? Yes.
Do they usually ask you for a copy of this?
No.
Do they say, "Will you leave this with me?"
I've never had anybody ask me for it.
I don't know, it's just.
So, but you can have an intelligent conversation with people and they're like, yeah, so-and-so just sold their house for 535 or something, right? Or they just sold it for 500. Well, actually they sold it for 536. Okay, yeah, they remodeled it and everything. Okay, but now you can have an intelligent conversation with people with this in hand. And that's where it starts. So you don't just go randomly knock a neighborhood, you go intelligently knock a neighborhood. You go in that neighborhood as the expert. Because if you come across as the expert and they look at it and they see, yeah, you've really done your research, you know the area, I've been thinking about selling my house, your chances of getting hired by them go up or down? Up, right? Now here's the other cool part about doing this is as you're walking around these streets, you're getting a really good gauge by using your map and looking at the house. Okay, that one sold for 234, that one sold for 270, that one sold for 305. You're getting a really good idea of what each house style is worth. Okay, because I promise you this will happen to you if you go out and knock doors. I promise you. It's happened to me. It's happened to everybody I know that consistently knocks doors. And most people make a mistake. Okay? So I knock on a door. I go through my first line of my script. I run into like the Eddie Grigos of the world. It's like, how'd you know? I want to sell my house. Okay? So yeah, I really wanted to sell my house. Okay? This true story. Okay? I had a young lady that I was training, and she had this happen to her. The guy says, if this is in Washington Terrace, if you give me $100 grand for my house, I'll sell it to you right now. She says, well, I could probably get you more. I can get you at least 150. He's like, great, give me 150. So she gets him 150. She gets a 3% commission on 150. It's a $4,500 commission minus her split. So she makes about $3 grand. Okay. Had she known what she knows now, the guy says, give me 100 grand. Great. Let me grab a contract. Call my TC. TC, this is the property address. Send a contract over. Here's his email address. Sit down with him on the couch, go over the contract. And I've done this. Sit down on the couch, go over the contract with him, have him sign right there. Done deal. I just put it under contract. Close on it. He moves out. I sell it for 150. I make 50. Okay. That's why door knocking is so powerful. So think about what's happening in our market right now. Think about what's happening in our market. Okay. People have heard what? It's a crazy market. Crazy market, right? Hot market. Okay. So for the average person that lives in this neighborhood, how do they know how crazy the market is?
Social media.
Social media.
Where can I?
You got social media, news, what else? Word of mouth.
Memes.
What's that? Speak up.
Memes.
Memes? Yeah. We had your house for sale at your price point in 1960. Okay. What about mailers? Okay. What are some of the other forms of advertising that these people are subject to right now?
Door knockers.
Okay. Door knockers, but we're rare.
Cold calling, texting.
Cold calling, texting. What else?
Traditional like TV, radio media.
Yep, radio. We got the news, we got TV, we got billboards. I know a lot of real estate agents, right, because I'm in the business. But if I wasn't in the business, on average, what do you think the number of real estate agents somebody knows is?
Yeah.
Three.
A lot.
3 to 5, probably. Okay, at least. Some of them, they don't even know are real estate agents because the real estate agent never told them they were, and they go to church with them every single week. Right? So 3, everybody knows, 3 to 5. You cannot go through a day as a normal human being outside of the real estate industry and not get blasted with some form or be subjected to some form of advertising to sell your house. You listen to the radio on the way to work, you're going to hear ads. Okay, Justin Udi, Peppers K-Bear. Hey, I hear it. I remember. He's always got some pretty funky little ads. I like it. Okay, you drive down the freeway. What billboards do you see? Any homie agents in here? I didn't think so. Why would they door knock?
Why would they door
So, you know, you drive down the freeway, you see billboards. Okay, you get home, you watch the news. Okay, you're subjected to all of this, and what it's caused to happen is it's caused the general public to have paralysis by analysis. They're overwhelmed. They're absolutely overwhelmed. And if they know 3 to 5 agents, which one are they going to go with? Lewis.
One more thing I'll add here, a lot of people I talk to think the market's gonna crash if they're not educated.
Lewis has a van that he's got his advertising on. Yeah, people think the market's going to crash. They don't know,
So a lot of
right?
people say, I do want to sell right now because the market's gonna crash.
Right, which it's not.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely.
But you've got 3 to 5 agents that you know. They don't know which one to call. They don't want to offend one of them. They don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. Okay, so they literally, they want to sell, but this mailer says this mailer says this billboard says this TV ad says this radio says this. I know 3 to 5 agents. Who do I call?
The one that's in your face.
The one that's in your face. You're exactly right. You knock on that door. Okay, and so now go to your first line on the script. So this is what everybody's issue is. Like if they went to a doctor, if you're a real estate doctor, this is what they'd tell you. Okay, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I want to sell, but I don't know where to start. Okay, so there's a lot of psychology built into these questions because I have failed miserably. Okay, 1,000 times from knocking doors. But I found what worked. And in the car business, we were really big on scripts and word tracks. And this is super simple. So first thing when you're knocking on the door, you're a stranger, nobody knows who you are. First thing that's going through their head is, who are you? Why are you on my front porch and what do you want? 100% of the time.
Also, did you read the no soliciting sign?
Yep. We'll go over that in just a second. So I love taking somebody with me to go door knocking. It's more fun. I learn with them. There's psychology behind that. I prefer a man and a woman to go because if you look out your front door, you see 2 men. In Utah, you think one thing, 2 things, home teachers, missionaries. Okay, I see 2 men. Okay? Or that's the new cute gay couple that just moved in. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay. So if there's 2 women, hey, I didn't hear what he said. We probably shouldn't repeat it if you're laughing that hard. If there's 2 women, same thing. Could be, you know, sister missionaries. Could be Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay. Could be a lot of things, but 2 women is probably better than 2 men out door knocking. Although I bought my first house when I was with Brett, so I can't say that it doesn't work. You know, so if you're by yourself, you come across as a salesperson when you go knock doors. Okay, the other thing is when you get, I have this little thing that I call the tractor beam. You'll get on a relation with somebody and you'll start talking and you'll get off track. You'll get sucked into the vortex or the tractor beam. That's why your partner's there to save you. Okay, code word bananas. Okay, so you're knocking on the door, you get stuck in that tractor beam, and then your partner realizes you've got sucked into a tractor beam. You're like, oh man, that is bananas. Okay. It's like, ding, bananas. Okay, I gotta get back on track. I gotta wrap this up. Okay, I got some crazy stories. So So I knock on the door. Hi, my name is Scott Eames, and this is Angie Kirby. We're local real estate agents, and the reason we're knocking on your door today is because we have a client that would very much like to buy a home in this neighborhood. The market is a little crazy right now, and inventory is an all-time low. We told them that we would go knock doors and see if we could find someone that would be interested in selling. With that being said, are you interested in selling your property? I just established why I was there, okay, who we are, why I was there, what we're doing, right? I just answered all their questions. 99.99% of the time, they say no. Now you get an Eddie Grigo 1 out of 100 times. 99 times out of 100, they say no because they're still trying to figure out, they're looking at you, they're sizing you up, they're trying to figure out if they can trust you or not. Who are you? I know you just told me all of this, but now my brain's spinning. You're a real estate agent. Yeah, I've been thinking about selling my house, but I don't know if I trust you, so I'm not going to tell you I'm thinking about selling my house. No. Reflex answer, easy. No. Okay, 100% expect it. I hope for it. It's great. Love it. Tell me no. Okay, tell me yes, even better. But tell me no, I don't care. I'm moving on. Go ahead.
So after you have knocked, do you step off the porch? How close are you?
I don't know.
I usually step off the porch.
I had a guy, I was
right in their face.
I was down
like-
knocking in Texas in April. I was doing some training down there with an agent, and we knock on this door. First, he tells me I can't knock like that in Texas because I sound like the police. Like, you can't knock on a neighbor, on a door like that. I even had a lady yell at me. She got out of the shower to yell at me because I knocked too hard. But this guy steps on the porch, like he sized me up and stepped up, and I didn't move. I just stood there, and he's standing this close to me, and I didn't move. So it's situational. I mean, I'll knock on the door and I'll step back to allow 3-4 feet. I don't take a step down off if there's just a single landing.
Yeah.
Okay, I stay on the porch, and you'll notice the body language when you're asking this first question is either the door's open and just the screen door's there, and they're talking to you through the screen door, okay, or they'll open the screen door partially, and they'll just hold it like this, okay, and they're just standing there, okay, or if they don't have a screen door, they'll open the door, you start telling them, they'll go like this, okay, this is a closed position, but they're listening. Now, the reason I have a man and a woman also is because when I ask that first question, or if Angie asks that first question, so if I ask you the question, okay, and you look to, I was going to say her, I got to do that different, okay? So if I ask you the question and you look to her to answer it, okay, you look at her to answer my question, you're more comfortable with females. So that's your cue to ask the second question.
Oh, nice.
Oh, so then you can kind of coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as you know that, and you're with a partner that you've done this with a few times, and you know that that's the way it works, and and Angie's done that with me plenty of times, she'll ask the question, but then they'll look at me to answer it. Because since birth, we're more comfortable with one or the other.
Right.
Okay, we're either a mama's boy, or we're a daddy's boy, or a daddy's girl, or a mama's girl, right? And that comes out when there's a man and a woman standing there, and you ask a question, they will look to answer the question over here.
Interesting. Thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, 99% of the time they say no. Question 2, okay, bummer, shoot, dang, whatever, okay, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to interject, whatever you're comfortable with. I was really hoping this was the one. My clients, this is the house they described. Hey, would you happen to know any of your friends, relatives, neighbors, people you go to church with or work with that have talked about buying or selling real estate in the last 60 days? Okay, I just asked them 5 different categories of people. The reason I asked them 5 different categories of people is because I wanted doors in their mind to start opening. Okay, reflex answer is no. But what I've done so far is I've established who we are, what we're doing there, okay, what our intentions are. Now I just asked them to think of 5 different categories. Because if I just ask them, hey, do you know anybody that's thought about selling real estate? They're not thinking of anybody.
And they don't care.
No. But if I ask them this way, would you happen to know any of your friends, relatives, neighbors, people you go to church with or work with that thought about buying or selling real estate in the last 60 days? Now they're thinking about, who do I know that I go to church with? Who do I know that I go okay, that I work with. Okay, well, let me ask you this. There's always that one neighbor in every neighborhood that nobody likes. If you would be so kind to point out that house, I will go knock on that door and convince them to move for you. Okay? 100% of the time, I'll get you just a second, 100% of the time they laugh. I only had one guy not laugh. Okay, 100%, so 99.99.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, what's that?
that nobody likes.
Yeah, he's.
I said that to him.
That's what
I said, you know what's funny is you're the guy everybody said they didn't like in the neighborhood, and then he still didn't laugh. I was like, no, I'm just kidding, because he just had super dry personality. Okay, but 100% of the time they laugh, and you watch their body language. Okay, that door comes open and they come out on the porch. I'm not joking. Their arms come down. Laughter is like the miracle drug of all drugs. Okay, you just made them laugh. Okay, they know who we are, why we're there. Now they've thought of a bunch of people, and now we just made them laugh, and they will come out onto the porch, and they will start telling you about every single person in the neighborhood. Everyone. They'll be like, so-and-so that lives in this house, they just moved in about 6 months ago. I haven't met them yet. The ones next door, the Jensen's, they've lived there for 22 years. Their kids have moved out, and they just start telling you every single person. Okay? Are you now more of an expert in the neighborhood? Okay, you might want to try so-and-so down the street. Okay, you'll also have the people say, yeah, will you go get them to sell? Okay, those are tenants that are in there. The landlord doesn't take care of the property. Look how beautiful this neighborhood is. This was in Woods Cross with Jessica. I went door knocking with her one day. We found 3 deals in that neighborhood in one day. Okay, and they're like, we find the person that owns this house and get those tenants out of there. It's the only yard in the entire neighborhood. And this neighborhood was like nearly dead, mostly. And it was the only yard that was yellow. Everything else is just manicured perfectly in Woods Cross. We find the owners of that house, either get them to clean up the yard or get them to sell the house so we can get somebody nice in there. Okay, but they will literally tell you every single person. So I'm standing at Carolyn's house. She's got her door closed, her screen door. I can smell the smoke from inside the house. And I say that third question, and I hear cackling laughter from inside the house. Okay, like the most cackle, like my best cackle laugh you've ever heard in your life. And Angela comes outside, and she's like, "Oh my God, that was so funny." And she's like, I heard so-and-so down the street, they might want to sell. We just live around the corner in this house right here. And, this is my mother-in-law. And we just live in the kitty corner in the back. But so-and-so down the street might be willing to sell. So-and-so over here might be willing to sell. Okay. 3 days later, Angela calls. She calls me in the van and says, "Hey, my husband's had an accident. Can you come by our house?" I was like, well, this is wild. An accident. It's like, oh, so sorry. Yeah, we come over and talk about it for sure. Okay, we go over to this house. It's about knee deep in clothes throughout the entire house. It was a 2,000 square foot split level. And it's about knee deep in clothes. I was like, they painted it weird colors. And we go sit down with them. Or we go sit down with Angela. Her husband's in the hospital. Hope he's going to be okay. And so I was like, hey, can you show us the rest of the house? We walk into the master bedroom. I was like, what happened to the door? The door's like busted off in the master bedroom. It's like, well, this is where the police had to kick down the door. I was like, whoa, the police had to kick down the door. She's like, yeah, this is where Jared shot himself. Okay, he lived. So she shows us the bullet hole in the ceiling. There's an imprint of a face on the floor from where blood was. Okay, turns out this house they were cooking meth in the house.
So not
Trading.
stigmatized too, right?
Yeah. Cooking meth in the house, selling it, trading it for just whatever. This house was floor to ceiling with just junk that people would bring over and trade for meth. Okay. cooking meth in the house, prostituting his wife out at night on Craigslist. True story. House was paid for. To this day, I think she shot him. I really do. She saw a way to get $160,000 because the house was paid for, and she was getting out of there. To this day, I think she shot him. But he lived, because I don't work anymore. He's missing half the skull.
He doesn't remember what happened.
No, he tells not to mess with her. Okay? But they're afraid that they're going to lose this house, and so they just want to take the money and run to Arizona and get out of Dodge before social services shows up and takes the kids. That was their whole motivation of getting out of there. That was the second flip I did.
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the second flip I did.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy stories. Okay, you never know what somebody's situation is when you're knocking doors. But by making her laugh by that third question is why she came outside, started talking to us, and that's why she called us. Yes.
So, what's the best time to knock? Like evenings when people are home, or does it matter, or?
Great
How long
question.
do you knock? What's your, when you should tell us, what's your schedule?
So typically, when I target a neighborhood, like we have, I don't know if I must have got kicked off. That's okay. You guys all have your sheets in front of you. Typically, I go around this time, 11 to 1, 11 to 2, somewhere in there. Okay, it's not the most ideal time to catch everybody at home. You will catch plenty of people at home, but from 11 to 2, typically, who would be home? Okay, the wife. Is that what you said? Yeah, the wife. Who makes a decision to buy a house? Who pays for it? Most of the time, the husband, right? What do husbands care about?
Making
Do I have a garage and do I have a man cave? I don't care about anything else. Is my wife happy? Okay. So if you can catch the wife at home, also between those hours of 11 to 2, kids are off to school, little ones are taking a nap. This is when she's in more of her comfort zone. Because if you go knock early in the morning, it's chaos. Probably a lot of you have kids in here, right? Or have had kids. Some of you might not have had kids yet. Mornings are chaos. Okay. Afternoons when kids get home, it's also chaos. Now you got kids coming home. Okay. They want to go play. They want to go do this. You're trying to get dinner ready. Your husband's coming home. All this, and it's chaotic between those hours of like 4 and 6. So I would say 7 to 8 in the evening, or 11 to 2 in the day. And if they're not home, so the ones that aren't home, I got my map, I can put an NH on there. And then I can go back in the evening between 7 and 8 if it looks like it might be a good property. Okay. For every 100 doors you go knock on, whether they answer it or not, you should get 3 listings. Whether they answer the door or not. Those are my numbers.
Every 100?
Every 100 you knock on, whether they answer the door or not, you should end up with 3 listings in a neighborhood.
So then do you print out like the streets so you know who lives there? A little more information, or you just?
No, I just do that right there.
Yeah.
I'll take notes.
Yeah.
I take notes on there. And so then once you get somebody that says yes, now you start having a conversation with them, get a tour of their house. Okay, 1 out of 100 will say yes.
Buyers are in the listing presentation.
What's that?
Your buyers in the listing presentation.
I don't have one.
You don't use them?
No.
Well, my broker's saying it's so important, it's like, where's mine then?
I
That
think
depends
it's
on,
right there.
Spring will tell you. I mean, she's got a listing packet that works, right? Spring lists way more houses than I do. I don't list houses anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, but so here's the thing, like I don't believe in like you walk on the PowerPoint or anything like that is so old school, but I do believe in walking and being educated on the market, having a script and something you follow. But I mean, for us, we teach the discovery process of finding out what's important to them, right? Like nobody wants you to, and it's a full class, but nobody wants you to just spew all this information about you. So the first thing when I go into a home is just say, if you're meeting with me other than price, what is it we need to discuss before we come on the market? Then they will tell me what it is they want to know that we need to discuss. You need to know like what your marketing strategy, your unique value proposition, all of that. So your brochure might be referring to that.
Right.
Your listing presentation,
And so initially, if they say yes and you're standing on their doorstep, you want to know if you can get a tour of the house. Hey, you know, I'd love to take a tour of your home and ask you a few questions and look at it objectively as if a buyer was looking at your house. Because who's the buyer right now? I am. I want to buy this house. For the right numbers, I'll buy any house. I don't care. I'll buy any house. I'll buy any duplex, any threeplex, fiveplex, apartment building. I'll buy anything if the numbers make sense. Okay, I am a buyer. I'm representing myself. Okay, or Angie's with me. She's representing me, or I'm representing her. Okay, so we try to get in the house so that we can go in and find out what updates the house needs. If it's market ready, or if it needs 20, 30, 50, 60, 120,000 in repairs. And a lot of people don't realize how expensive stuff is right now unless you've flipped a few houses. Right? What's the most you've spent on a flip? About 80? How big was the house? Yeah. So that's pretty close, right? Almost $30 a foot, so it's a complete gut, right? So cosmetic, you're about 22 bucks a foot. Guts, you're about 30, 35 bucks a foot. The higher your square footage gets, you could get more expensive or it could be less expensive. But you want to get into the house, see, you know, if I can buy this house, if not, can I list this house? But you can speak intelligently with them because you have your map, you have your, like Spring said, you have your knowledge of what your value add is. If I list your house, then this is what we're going to do with our marketing campaign. We're going to list it on a Wednesday. We're going to do no showings till open house. And we can't let one person in. Okay. We'll get everybody here at the open house. We'll create a frenzy. We'll get a bunch of people to make offers, and then we'll make a decision by Monday. We'll blast it on social media, you know, whatever your marketing strategy is. Okay. That way you just need to leave your house. Well, anyway, blah, blah. Okay. That's your value add once you get in the door. Okay. But it's up to you. These 3 questions, this will get their guard down. This is the whole design of this. This will get their guard down so that you can start having that conversation with them. Because keep in mind, they have all of this at their disposal. Homie sent them postcards. Okay, what else do we have on this market right now? It's getting bigger and bigger. Yep. Who's heard of Open Door? Okay. Sunday. Who's heard of Sunday? I just signed up with them yesterday. They find deals off market and they send them to investors. Okay. Who's received a text message, I want to buy your house?
Well,
Who's got slide out voicemails? Okay. It would absolutely blow you guys away as real estate agents. Who's on a wholesale list to get properties? Okay. About 50% of the room, 20% of the room. Okay. How many deals do you get a day, Chase? 3 to 10 a day. Lewis, how many do you get? Yeah, 3 to 10. I get to look at 3 to 10 off-market properties every single day. So this is working. All of this is working. There's a lot of people that don't know what to do, but a lot of people are reaching out to these people because, hey, we'll make you a cash offer today. And Open Door, just so everybody in this room understands, you can have a house that's worth top of the market. You list it at 329, you're going to get 350. Open Door will pay them 375. They're paying cash. They don't care. They know what the lifelong value of this property is to put renters in there and keep it for the next 30 years. And they will close at those numbers. So, and they're coming. Okay, so this is where we have to be different. We have to get out. We have to be in front of people. We have to be the face. We can't let our industry just turn into a digital real estate market or Zillow takes over, Homey takes over. Okay, we still need to get out into the public.
They just bought $7.4 billion portfolio from AIG. They're trying to buy up whole cities.
Yeah. And rent them out. So that's one thing that I know is in crisis right now is there are more investors today than ever before that own more houses than ever before. There are groups like Blackstone that own 100,000 houses. And that's going to continue to happen. It's not that we can't keep up by building more. It's you have companies coming in and money is so cheap right now, they're just buying everything.
Yeah, but as well as distribution and inflation, we want to own assets. So,
Yeah, and you look at a 20-year pro forma on a rental property, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, so back to the door knocking. So you ask these 3 questions, that's gonna get your foot in the door. Some people, like Miss Stoddard, we had to go back and she told us that day, she's like, hey, you know, I'm not ready to sell right now. My husband passed away, my daughter wants me to move in with her. I'll be ready come spring. This was about October-ish when we first met her. And so we kept following up with her. We went back, we kept farming the neighborhood, we kept stopping in every time we were in the neighborhood. I just stopped by, hey, how you doing? Because, you know, she's an elderly lady, how you doing? You know, everything good? Yep, everything's good. So then come spring, she calls, says, okay, I'm ready. They've got their basement finished, they're ready for me to move down there, it's beautiful, so I'm ready. So we list her house, get it done, she moves in with her daughter, life's grand. So some of the deals are gonna be right away, some of them are gonna be a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. That's like Spring said, you've got to do your discovery. So think of it as when they say yes at that door, that's basically you just got an appointment for a listing presentation, just in a slightly different way. Because they didn't know you were coming to their house to list it that day. So now you just need to do a lot of the discovery that you would have done on a phone call before you got there. Makes sense? Okay, if you can sign contracts that day, great. If you've got to set a follow-up appointment and come back, set a follow-up appointment and come back. First house I bought, I had to go over there 4 or 5 times before I finally bought it. Angela's house, done that day. Okay. Braden Buxton, I love Braden. Hired him into the business in 2018. The reason I hired him is because he grew up on a farm in Idaho, built a pretty good MLM business, door knocked for Vivint, and was currently working in oil fields. Okay, his resume told me a lot, so I hired him. My broker at the time told me he would never make it. Okay, from door knocking, he did over $9 million last year in volume. Just bought his first house. I'm so proud of this kid. He's 31. 31. Okay. First day I take him out door knocking training. I'm door knocking for an open house. Okay. I've got an open house. I got under an 8% listing agreement from door knocking and a $7.95 transaction fee, which I ended up double siding. Okay. But it was a good thing because their payout came in way higher than what they thought, so I had to give up a lot of the commission, which I would have been able to do. But I had double-sided it. So, but we're doing an open house. Got an open house flyer. Let's go knock for open houses. Go knock for open houses. Hey, I'm Scott Eames. This is Braden Buxton. We're local real estate agents. We're holding an open house. A couple doors up. Just wanted to give you an idea of what's going on in the neighborhood. Okay. He looks at the flyer. Looks at me. Looks at the flyer. Looks at me. Looks at the flyer. Looks at me. And says, if you can sell that house for that amount, you can sell mine. Third door I knocked on with Braden. And I went like this. I said, your house is nicer, I'll sell yours for more. Okay, there was already no margin for me to try to buy his house because of where we were at in the price point. Okay, so we held our open house, multiple offers, okay, backup offers. I call him up on Saturday night, leave a voicemail. He listens to my voicemail Sunday morning. He's like, after I listened to your voicemail, I shit myself. So I went and cleaned myself up in the bathroom. I came back, I listened to it again. I almost shit myself again. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and break with this guy. And he says, can you come over tomorrow? I was like, John, it gets better. Okay, I've got this house under contract. We listed at 229. We got it under contract at 235. This is before it really heated up. Okay, 235. I said, I've already got one of our backup offers that wants to buy your house. I told them all about it for $245. The highest appraisal in this neighborhood at the time had been $210. Like, I'm already like sweating that I'm even gonna get this to a price. Okay, I said, I've got somebody that will put your house under contract on Monday at $245. He's like, what time can you get here? Drove down there Monday morning, signed a listing agreement with him. And he says, what's this gonna cost me? I said, John, normally I just went straight to it, 8% on this one. And he says, well, can you do it for 6 since you really didn't have to do anything? I said, yeah, I'll do it for 6. So I do a listing agreement for 6%. I have another contract by 3 o'clock that day.
And you from the buyer.
No, on that one I didn't. That one I had a backup offer for my open house. And I told him about this other house, and then I went and got it under contract. And yeah, so, 2 door knocks, 2 deals, 3 houses apart. So there's all kinds of reasons to door knock. It's not just this way. This way is a good start, but then you get an open house. Well, now you've got people that you didn't get a hold of. Invite them to the open house. Yes.
So do you say when someone asks, like, do you discount commission? You know what I mean? So they always want to, like, ask that. What do you say?
No?
Well, no, you can't say no, you don't.
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. It's like, no, I don't discount my commission.
I feel like I just look really good.
And then they just like, okay. If you go into an explanation, you're going to create more conversation.
Are you saying?
Yeah, no.
Well, I just say no, I don't offer discounts, so sorry.
Yeah, and if the discussion goes even further, sometimes it's happened a couple of times. Okay, the only time people ask you for a discount is because you haven't built enough value in yourself. So if your value proposition and your value add gets to the point where that's just like a reflex question they've got to ask because they feel like they have to ask, go try to buy a car right now. Okay, a brand new car, you're gonna pay sticker price. You know how hard that is for me after spending 20 years in car business to pay sticker price? I just went and bought a brand new Jeep Gladiator for my wife, $63,000 sticker price. You know how hard that is for me to pay sticker price for a car? The good news is my used Explorer is worth way more than it should be right now too, so I don't really care. But I still asked for a discount. Do you discount it? No. Are you sure? Yes. Do you discount it? No, it's the only one we have. Well, there's more out there. Yeah, but they're not going to discount either. We've been charging $4,000 over sticker. Okay. Just say no. But, if it comes right down to it, there's a lot of different things you can say to people, as far as, it's like, let's say I list your neighbor's house and I list your house. I've got a discounted commission with you, and I've got a retail commission with them. Which house am I going to sell first? Where am I going to push people to? Where I'm going to make more money?
Exactly.
Right? So I turn people down. I've done friends and family favors. I discount for friends and family all the time. I take care of them. My little brother's awesome. I sold his house $550 in West Haven. And he's like, you need to take the full 3%. It's like, Mike, you're family. I don't need it. Like, bro, I make enough money. You work hard. I remodeled like his whole basement, repainted his whole house. So he's like, you worked hard, take the full 3%, you earned it. So I probably got him 45 grand more than what he should have got because I went in and did all the work with my crew. So, but door knocking, anyway, back to door knocking. Over the last couple of years, I've listed a tremendous amount of properties. I bought and flipped 25 properties in the last 2 years, just from door knocking. I tried spending money on ads, and I'd rather just go door knock. Get out the sun, get some steps in, get some exercise, have conversations with people, and just go have a good time. Get to know people. I got lots of hands. I told you I'd come back to you.
That's all right. So you get the icebreaker with question 3, but let's say you dealt with 4 of them. Are you also trying to collect their information for when they're ready in 5 years or whatever?
Sure. There's a couple of door knocking apps that you can get. You can log everybody's information. There's even apps out there now that you can click on it and it'll tell you who lives there, what their credit score is. This came from the solar industry. Leave it up to those guys. They make plenty of money. Okay, so there's apps that will actually tell you who the homeowner is and what the demographic, what their credit score is, what their household income is. It's crazy. If they're renting or not.
What's that? Nicole?
I don't know. I don't use apps. I'm so highly focused on the doors I go knock
There's a
down.
mojo one that's like that.
Yeah. So this is where I started, was this, and now I'm highly focused to where the leads, the doors I go knock on. I mean, I still go do this because I can still find deals doing this. But the other ways that I find deals is like a whole other class. Is I will buy 1 out of 20 houses, 20 doors I knock on. I'll buy one of them. I hate cold calling. I hired somebody to do that.
Oh, there you go.
I found the best cold caller in the business and I hired him. I recruited him, my team hired him, and now he cold calls. Yeah.
What's the biggest motivation you found among properties that you end up buying from door knocking?
From the seller?
Yeah.
Why are they motivated?
Most.
Every one of them's different. Every single one of them's different. You know, I had the one that was the meth cooker. I had another one that was, he was a cocaine dealer, and he had his 3 little boys living in a tough shed out in the backyard. And every time I've gone and I've flipped a house, I've had the neighbors come and thank me for bringing the neighborhood up. I had a lady that needed to move to Florida to go live with her sister because she's just getting elderly and she wanted to go live with her sister so they could take care of each other and get out in the winters. And that's the most expensive remodel I've done on a house. We had a 5-plex that we bought that was listed as a duplex at the time. And, you know, they just, mama died and they didn't want it. It was just a burden to have this giant duplex that was a mess. We converted it back into a 5-plex and it took us a year to do, but we made a $200,000 profit in 12 months. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just all types of motivation. You know, some people it's credit, some people they're behind on their bills and they need cash now. I've had an alcoholic that was going to lose his house because he just couldn't get his shit together. What else? There's just so many of them. It's just all over the place. There's not like one finite deal. All I know is that if I go knock on doors, I find deals that nobody else finds. A lot of people are they're ready, but they just don't know what to do because there's too many avenues. Yes.
What's the language you use if you sound interested to tour your house on the spot? A lot of people don't want your house if they're not prepared for you, so how do you know what's going on?
Oh, if they're not ready for me to come in?
Yeah, like you're not,
They're like a mess or not right now.
So I ask, like, if they say, yeah, I'm interested, then the next question that I'll ask them is, you know, is now or when would be a good time to come through your house so that I can look at it through the eyes of a buyer and give you some tips so that we can maximize how much money you can get out of selling your home. Sometimes they'll say right now, sometimes they'll say, oh, can you come back, you know, later, give me a little while to clean up. Joel, obviously wearing a towel. Hey, he didn't want us to come in right now because he wanted to get back in the shower. So you just ask the question, you know, would now be a good time or when would be a good time to come back to go through the house and take a look at it through the eyes of a buyer and give you some ideas on how to maximize what you can sell it for. Yes.
With your contract info that you get, you mentioned that like, digital business card way, but what are other ways that you're able to do that? And then, like, to make sure that that's right. Like, I've heard people kind of will say, can you just give me that number one more time at the end of the conversation just to check if they can do like the wrong number, right? Like the random one. And so, like, what have you found with that?
So I've got I pull my phone out and I say, hey, I have a digital card. And I actually have myself stored in my phone with a digital card, right? It's got my birthday in there too, so they can remember to send me a birthday card. And then I say, you know, just let me send you my digital card. You know, what's your number? Okay, put it in, hit send, you got your phone on you, make sure you got it. Make sure it went through.
And then to get their
That's it.
Can you like ask them their name?
Yeah, and then I'll hit plus, let me add you as a contact, and then I'll put it in. So that way I can follow up with them. So texting is still, you know, one of the best ways to follow up with people, but getting face to face, having a conversation, now you become a real person. And now all of a sudden too, is if they choose to use you, like John that I sold his house for $245, he had a real estate agent friend that wants to sell his house. But he used me because I knocked on his door. Okay, now they've got 3 to 5 people that they know. Okay, who has lost a deal that you know the person? I've lost plenty. And they've gone with somebody else. Like, dude, what happened? Well, they just hit them at the right time.
People follow the path of least resistance.
Yes. And that's why if you're knocking doors and you're standing on the porch, that's the path of least resistance. And either you're going to buy their house or you're going to list their house. Yes.
When you've been out and, you come across people who maybe through foreclosure, they're falling behind their payments, or they're, maybe some of their circumstances there, they have no equity in their home. And as you're looking to buy this house as an investment opportunity, what are some different things that you've done to overcome those obstacles with those people, those sellers?
So it's a great question. So what is like one of the number one things that we're facing in the industry right now that ends this month? Forbearance. Okay. The moratorium, there's a lot of misconceptions about the moratorium that are out there. Okay, the only people that are safe from the renter's moratorium are if their landlord has an FHA loan. Because the landlord can get government assistance on an FHA loan, so renters don't have to pay rent. Because the landlord has an FHA loan, he can get subsidies from the government. If you have a conventional loan on your rental property and renters stop paying you, you can evict them. 100% you can evict them, and I've done it. Okay, and it's right in the Utah law. So there's a big misconception on that. But forbearance is the biggest thing. I'm buying a duplex in South Ogden right now. Now the guy called me up and said, "Hey, are you still interested in my duplex?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I just got my letter that my forbearance is due at the end of July. He owes $19,000 to catch it up. He doesn't have the money." He says, "If you can cash me out for 50 grand, then I'll move out. You can buy my place. I'll carry the note." So he's going to leave his financing in place. So I don't have to go qualify for a loan. I just got to give him 50 grand to move out. He'll leave his loan in place, and then I start making the payments. Okay.
So most of these people don't think they do wrong.
They can't. Their credit's shot. Yeah. But the crazy thing is with the forbearance, what a lot of people don't understand is with the forbearance, their credit score is actually his credit score is still a 780 right now. But on his credit, it lists that this mortgage is in forbearance. So because of that, the mortgage company, if you try to refinance it, your new lender will say, "Okay, I need proof of mortgage is current because of that," and it's not. You can't refinance it. 3 months. Yep.
But they could sell the home.
Yep.
And buy a new one, but they have to show that mortgage.
Yep. So that's going to come up when you're out there right now because that forbearance is this month. What's that? If I get to that point, absolutely. But I'm not just going to knock on the door and say, "Hey, are you updated on your mortgage? Are you up to date? How's your credit?" No, I don't get into that. But it's an interesting thing that's happening in our industry right now because when this forbearance is up, there's a lot of people that need to bring their mortgages current on August 1st or on September 1st. Their credit's shot. Those back payments are going to show, and their credit score is going to go from here to here if it's not already there. But there's a lot of people that went out and bought new campers, new side-by-sides, new boats. Okay, watch out for the fire sale coming up. Okay, on toys. I'm excited. I'm getting some discounted toys. Okay, but that's coming because that's what they'll sell first, so that they can save the mortgage. Because they were able with a 785 credit score to still go buy that brand new truck because they didn't have to make their $2,000 house payment anymore. So now they're $24,000 behind. Now they're $30,000 behind. Lewis was in here. I went to deal with him. We paid one current, took over the payments. We paid 21 grand to bring it current, then went and flipped the house, turned around and sold it, made, a $60,000 profit, but they were about to lose their house. They had no other option. We put cash in their pocket so that they could go rent a place, save their credit, make payments on it, so reestablished house credit for them. And now here it is barely a year later, and they're actually able to buy a house again. So there's a lot of good things you can do by bringing, deals current, and even helping them by making house payments and reestablishing their credit.
So are you doing contracts with me when you buy that home?
It's subject to the existing mortgage. You gotta be careful, FHA, it's actually illegal to do it on. Title companies can lose their licenses.
Have you ever had, or do you often have it do on the sell? You transfer the title, over
You can set it up that way. I mean, it's all the negotiation you have, the agreement you have with the seller. For example, like the duplex that I'm buying, I've got an agreement with him, and he doesn't care if I took it out a year. But really, I don't want to. I want to do 6 months so I can go in and do renovations because there's $250 a month in mortgage insurance. That's a waste of money to me. So I want to just leave that financing in place, get in there, do the repairs, and then cash out, refinance out of it, get all my capital back, end up basically with a free duplex with no money out of my own pocket, and get an interest rate with no mortgage insurance, so now I can cash flow properly on it. Yeah. So 6 months, a lot of more, the reason we're doing 6 months is because a lot of, when you refinance it, you've got to be on title for 6 months before you can do a cash out refi. Some are 90 days, but you might pay a higher interest rate. We're going down like a completely different rabbit hole, right? But this all started with me. This all started from door knocking, and I started door knocking intentionally in 2018. It's barely 2021, and that's how I bought my first flip in August of 2018. And now I go out and I knock on doors and I find properties. I got this duplex. I've got another duplex in Salt Lake. I'm under contract on 2 single-family homes in East Ogden. All from knocking on doors.
So how many hours, sorry, to answer this, a week would you say you usually spend per month?
3.
A week?
Yeah.
I was thinking like consistently every day, that's cool.
People that do it consistently every day, like Ray Buxton and Eric Brown, they kick ass. But I've become so intentional and so highly targeted on the neighborhoods. I literally go out 3 hours a week. I've got 2, after this class, I'm going to go knock on 2 doors today. I knocked on 1 yesterday. I'm going to go knock on 2 today. And when I take somebody out and train them, then I'll go, I'll go spend a couple hours. Next couple of weeks are pretty hectic for me. In August will be the first chance.
How do you do that?
You guys can all text me and I'll give you my number. You can find it on MLS too.
You can find anything in there.
Right? For everybody that's online.
Thank you.
So yeah, I enjoy it. It's like my favorite part. It's real estate has been so good to me over the last several years. This is my gift back to the industry. If I can help everybody in this room,
Well, you can't do similar to
right? If I can help everybody in this room just get one more deal a month, or just one more deal every 3 months. What would an extra $30,000 a year do for you? What would an extra $60,000 a year do for you? Right? Take that vacation, go celebrate, buy that new car, buy another rental property. So yeah, this is just my way of giving back, and I appreciate y'all coming out today. Any more questions? I did one right at the end of May, so I'll probably do that one again. More down investing in properties and buying properties and how to structure them, and because there's a ton of different ways to structure them. And I'll leave you with this on that part of things. Is I found out real quickly that if you can find the deal and the numbers make sense, the money is the easiest part. Finding the deal is the hardest part. If you find the deal, I can give you a list of 1,000 people right now that are willing to lend you money. If the numbers make sense. If you find a house for 60 cents on the dollar, you negotiate your own terms on what you're going to pay that money on. Pretty close. But then you get to a certain point where you just call so and so, and you say, hey, I need $250,000 wired into my account in like 72 hours. Way I'm close to quick. One of my other guys backed out or whatever, and they're like, okay, yeah, done deal. Pretty awesome.
I think it's important for you guys to know, like, the class is designed, the door knocking and listings, whatnot. You will run into kick-ass bills with all the, like, all, I'm sure, if you've been in the business, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a no-brainer. Learn how to tie it up, because like I said, the money part is the easiest. And the reality of the situation is that you're in real estate and commissions are there for you to live and whatnot. So the opportunity in real estate is really the level opportunity. And so you can start thinking that way. It's a game changer.
That's the thing. If you go out and you find a deal, and you find that person that says, yeah, I only bought, give me $250,000. And I even have a friend of mine, she's like, your house is worth more. He's like, I don't care. I only want X. You keep the rest. I'm not joking. Okay. She made $60,000 on a 270 sales price. He made 100. That's all he wanted. He wanted 100. I want 100 so I can move to St. George and go live with my sister. You keep the rest. I don't need it. I'm not going to live long enough to spend even the 100. Okay, so she made 60. She calls me up, Scott, what do I do? What do you do? Let me come over and look at the house with you. I walked through the house with her, and I said, look, I could partner with you on this, but realistically, I actually already have a buyer for this. At this number, if you spend 25, you might get 25 more. But you could sell it at the condition that it's in right now for this, and you'll make the same amount of money. And you don't need me for this deal. The way I make money, and I'm sure Spring would be happy to do this, and I'm sure even Jason would be happy to do this. If you find a deal, get a hold of one of us. Get a hold of one of us. We've been there, we've done that, we've stumbled, we've fallen, we've gone through all of these landmines, right? We've done all of this. Call one of us, and we'll partner with you on a deal, and we'll teach you how to do the next one. That's how we get paid as coaches, is we teach you how to go through this deal and navigate this deal. Ultimately, it's where you don't need us anymore until you do. Because not one deal is ever the same. Not even close. Yes.
And I started looking hard on it, and I talked to people. I didn't even know if it was like so, but how do you know what their salary numbers and how much they want? How do you judge the hard
So I borrow hard money all the time. I still borrow hard money. I pay cash for some deals by myself. When I first started flipping, I had $27,000 in the bank on my first flip. I knew it was going to cost me about 17 to rehab it because I had some credit cards. Right, so I had to build up capital over time. But there's deals that we're doing right now that we're like, okay, well, it makes sense if we get X amount of hard money. Because I've got to go in Bengtzen, and I've got to go in, I either got to raise the rent, so I've got to kick them out, but then I can rehab that unit. So it makes sense to get some hard money on this deal. I've got some cash flow coming in that offsets it a little bit. But if I go and try to just qualify for a loan, a lot of these investor products that you go qualify for, some of them are going to cost you $5,000 in loan fees or $8,000 in loan fees or $9,000. We have one that costs like $90,000 in loan fees. Okay, and so you look at that, you're like, okay, why is it this? But I need to be on title for so long. Let me borrow a little bit of hard money so I'm not completely out of capital just in case another deal comes up. And then I can refinance this, get all my capital back, and go and make some improvements, get the value out, refinance and get all my money back. So you gotta just look at each deal on a case-by-case basis. Typically right now in a triplex, like my triplex that I sold in Ogden, we picked it up at 267, went in, did some improvements, got bad tenants out, got a couple of good tenants in. They spent about 15 grand, so we bought it 267 and spent about 15 grand on it, sold it 6 months later for 410. And we were able to get new tenants in there and raise the rents. Because if you look at the right established triplex, it was generating $33,000 a year. In our market right now, $33,000 a year in gross income. You can basically take that by about a 12 to a 14 factor, and that would give you what the property's worth right now. So it was a 10 factor, but it shifted. I would have said it was worth 330. If you start giving you that 12, 13, 14, 15 range, the fiveplex that we did in Ogden, we bought that at 250. We got 130 on it, and we sold it at 600. We had 5 units doing $1,000 a month in rents. That was $60,000 a year. That was a 10 factor. We sold it for 600. So there's again, it's just a deal by deal basis. So there's opportunities everywhere. How hard do you want to go work? I get knocked over more than 3 hours a week. I like my lifestyle a little too much right now. But I've also trained a lot of people like yourselves, and I get calls. Not only do I get 3 to 10 wholesale emails a day, I encourage all of you for your buyers. Once you get signed up, you've got conventional buyers. Get signed up on some wholesale lists. FHA, a lot of these houses won't pass. You could get your conventional buyers to be able to buy some of these deals off of these wholesalers. Especially if you got a conventional buyer that doesn't care if they've got to go and do a little bit of work. Some houses that we get from wholesalers are retail ready, aren't they? Some of them need 100 grand, some of them need 50 grand, some of them need 20 grand. Yes.
Are those lists similar to leads, or are they just homes we can look at? So you can start doing homework now if you're not ready to flip.
I consider it a lead. You get a deal from a wholesaler. The problem with wholesalers right now is that it's not really a problem with the wholesaler, but it's for the wholesalers. They're sending it out to a database. They're sending one deal out to the database, and then all of us, we know each other. We see each other at auctions. We see each other at all of these deals, and we're all doing a walkthrough on a house. So it's like an open house for investors. And then the bidding war starts. Starting price $225, ARV $350. Okay, who doesn't want to make any money? Okay. I call them. I'm like, I'll give you 190, Scott. I've got 10 offers for over asking. Margins too thin. I don't care. I get passed on deals all the time. The reason I'm pulling my phone out right now is just so I can just give you like a real life example of the deal probably today.
But you can sign up just to do a little homework and kind of get to know the market, I guess.
Yeah, simple purchase contract in West Valley, 4355 South Hawkeye Street. Anybody got buyers in West Valley? 3-bed, 2-bath, and easily become 4-bed, 2-bath, 15, 20 square feet plus addition containing 1-bed, 1-bath, built 1971, 22 acres, ARP 400 plus, starting price 320. Okay, if you've got a conventional buyer that's willing to pay 340, 350 for this house, they've got to do a little bit of repair to get that equity. There's a house right there.
But if you have that same buyer but the FHA, you can go in and do a few repairs, sell it for $475 and then give it to them for FHA, right? I mean, I've seen FHA deals where they put duct tape on the curtain so that it passed. Painted over the mold so that it passed.
And there's things you can do, absolutely.
Just to get it to pass the FHA.
Well, the cool part about doing the door knocking too is you go out and you find a deal, somebody willing to sell. If you can put it under contract and get to sign the contract, and they're okay with the numbers, you get to sign the contract, you've got a buyer over here, you can turn around and then sell it to them, you've got to sign the contract to them. Instead of making 3% or 6%, you should make 10%. The average wholesale fee right now has gone up. I would say your average wholesale fee is probably 30 $3,000, just go sign a piece of paper. 70 to 80. Yeah. I know a lot of people are buying them right now and closing on them and then putting them on the MLS because they can make 90, 100 in the condition they're in. It's a crazy market out there right now. There's a ton of opportunity and that's just a different way to make money. This is the way to go find listings today. Hopefully you can leave here and go knock on doors. Everybody feel comfortable like they could do what I showed on MLS. You can target a neighborhood close to you. They start with your own neighborhood and find a pocket in your own neighborhood. Just go start knocking on doors and having conversations with people. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They say no. They lock you in the cellar and they tell you to put the lotion on the skin. Okay, but you literally can go out today